Welcome to Rare Conversations, and we have the privilege of doing our second podcast with the owners of Casa Baja. We've got Ricardo and Sam, and we're at the La Huerta project in San Sebastian, Todos Santos. Tyson, who's the sales manager at Rare, also the listing agent for this project. We're at Casa Newbie inside the project, and we're here to do a podcast. These guys have been on before. We want to reintroduce them, and we want to reintroduce this amazing project that you guys have already, completed several houses, and we want to talk about the project, what you guys have been up to since our last podcast, and Tyson's going to kind of run the show here, and we just, first of all, I want to say thank you for doing a second round of Rare Conversations. You're the first people that we've had 2 times.
Oh, wow.
And so it's really great to have you guys again. And again, the idea of having a podcast with local, I hate to use the word developers, but local business people that have a project in mind like this, it's really really great to have you guys on, and let's hand it over to Tyson and talk about La Huerta.
Thank you, Richie. Yeah, great to be here in front of Casa Nube. Spectacular home. Beautiful setting here in San Sebastian, close to the water. You can almost hear the ocean. There's no waves today, but we can almost hear the ocean. So Ricardo, Sam, I know we've kind of covered this ground before, but for those who may not have heard on our past podcasts, you guys just want to maybe talk a little bit about yourselves, introduce yourselves, and kind of give us some background on how you guys got here.
Thank you, Richie, for having us here again. Thank you, Tyson. My name is Ricardo Arteaga. I moved here 14 years ago with my wife. And we moved here because of the weather, the community, the activities around the area. Me personally enjoying surfing, my wife Natalie enjoying yoga and fitness classes. So it just made sense to be part of this community. We have felt very welcomed, and we're really happy to be here. Thank you, guys.
That's great. Sam?
Well, thank you for having us on for the second time. It's very honored to be the first return guests. My name is Sam. I'm originally from Mexico City. After college, I moved to the States. I lived there for about 10, 11 years. I worked in project development. I also did finance, and what really attracted me is I wanted to come back to Mexico. I didn't necessarily want to go back to Mexico City for obvious reasons, a very, very populated city, and I was able to visit Todos Santos with an invite to go to Cabo, but I actually stayed here, and I fell in love with the place right away. Of a lot of the things that I think we all truly enjoy about this place is just the outdoors. Just being able to be outdoors, the community. The community was also incredibly welcoming to me as well. I just, that's how I got here, and I've lived here for 8 years now, and I absolutely love being in the area. I love it, yeah.
Great. And what we didn't touch on, Ricardo, is maybe you could give our audience a little bit of your professional background, kind of your schooling, kind of like your previous experience in your field.
For sure. I'm an architect. I graduated in school in Guadalajara. I'm originally from Guadalajara. So after I graduated from school, I worked for a big construction company for a few years as a general assistant of the general manager. After that, I started building houses in Guadalajara. And when I moved here to Todos Santos, there wasn't that much going on, so I started a carpentry business, and that's how I got to start working in the area. I started getting the confidence from people in my work, and it just kept growing until I had enough work that people could feel comfortable giving me the opportunity to design and build houses for them. So I've been doing that for the last 10 years here in the area.
And When you guys, obviously you guys are kind of on, different paths, but you ended up in the same spot. I'm curious to hear, and Richie, I think, knows the story, but I don't know if I've ever heard. Maybe you could tell our audience how you and Sam actually met.
Well, how we actually met was mountain biking. We went through a good friend of ours, and we actually met mountain biking, and we just started talking. We started talking about kind of what was happening in Todos Santos, kind of the community, and then we started to align on certain things. I think Ricardo and I have a very similar goal, but we have different, we bring different things to the table, and it just seemed to be, I guess, I don't know, it just came through conversations, of like-minded conversations, that even though Ricardo is an architect and he's in charge of all the creative and all the let's say the design part of it, I brought in another part which is more of the management of it. So I think both of us kind of complemented each other and thought, we have the same vision, and we kind of have this very, very similar values to what we want for the community, what we want as a business, and I think that's kind of what came about. I don't know exactly at what point we said, let's work together, but it just kind of here we are, I guess.
But so at some point during, after you guys had met, you guys, figured out you guys are on the same page, you guys are aligned with what you wanted to do. You guys formed Casa Baja Work Group, which is your company that's behind this project, correct?
Yeah, we've been together for the last 6-7 years.
Yeah.
Great, and you guys have done other projects in the community.
Correct, yes.
If I may jump in and just say something here, I've known these guys for at least that time frame, and Ricardo mentions about how he got started building for people and doing houses, and then both you and Sam started building individual residences, and that's how kind of we connected in the business form. But it also, I think both of you kind of reflect the diversity and the idea of community you had mentioned, Sam, in Todos Santos. I think we're super fortunate to have people who are building consciously in the community, and you guys are world travelers. I mean, Chino, I know that you've lived in Australia, I think, Canada,
England.
England. Sam, you've lived in the United States and England, I think, right? And you're from Mexico City and Guadalajara. It's you're kind of reflective of what the community that we have here in Todos Santos. And I also wanted to say thank you for conducting this for our foreign clientele in English. So,
No problem.
So let's rewind just a little bit, because we touched on kind of your guys' backgrounds and the company Casa Baja, but let's dive a little bit more into Todos Santos. I'm just curious, the part of what actually brought you guys to Todos Santos specifically. Why not Cabo? Why not La Paz? Why not somewhere else in Baja? I know Baja obviously has a huge appeal for a lot of people, like-minded individuals that love the outdoors, but why specifically Todos Santos?
For me and my wife, I think it was the opportunity to be closer together, to have more time, have more space, be able to be in the outdoors. We saw in Todos Santos something that you don't see in many places, which was a little magic, if you could say. As soon as you drive into Todos Santos and you go through El Otro Lado and you see that canal with water running and the palm trees and the mango trees, and you drive up and you see the beautiful cardons, it's just so magical that it's difficult to describe and to put it into words. But it really made a big impression to us the first time we were here. And we thought it was a great place to bring up our family and our businesses and our own selves, right? It's a place that allows you to be introspective and to grow, and we really appreciate that from Todos Santos and the community.
I mean, I think for me it was, similar to Ricardo's experience, but I kind of want to talk a little bit about the business part of it. No, for me, I really thought that when I looked at places like Cabo and other places, things seemed to be already very defined. Mm-hmm. No, if you were in this area, you had to build this way, you had to do this certain thing. And Todos Santos gave us for me, it seems more of a blank canvas. to not only be able to create a project like this, but also to have an impact on the community itself. I think we can still create some of the rules and define certain things. And I've always thought that Todos Santos is an incredible opportunity in that aspect. Not everything is already set in stone. Here we can really venture out a little bit in what we want to do, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. And I think, Richie, you would have felt the same way when you arrived in Todos Santos, huh? You a lot of opportunity and
the idea that, reflection, just, bringing up a family, the business end, the opportunities that you have here. I think it's you guys answered it really well, and I think it's great, like how you guys came upon this. I mean, everyone has their own reason, but we share that magical touch, right? That idea of like, this is a magical place, and everyone gets that kind of feeling, So I definitely got it. I mean, I pretty much packed my bags and came down within a month and bought a place but not sight unseen. I just shook someone's hand and left a deposit.
Yeah.
Came back.
Yeah.
It's funny. A lot of people you speak within the community have a lot of similar stories to kind of what everyone here has discussed. So it's always really great to hear that. And obviously Todos Santos, all of that magic, and Sam kind of touched on the business side of it, but I just wanted to dive in a little bit of that. Further into that, obviously you guys progressed with your own business and progressed from the homes that you were originally doing into the where we're at right now with La Huerta, San Sebastian. So I'm really interested to kind of hear about a project like this scale of we're in a community of 10 homes all on large half-acre lots. So a scale for the project like this, and how does it go from being something you're thinking about to some land that you know of to a project like this?
I think at the beginning, Sam and I decided that we were going to start building spec homes, and it was during the COVID era. And lots of things started to happen in town. Lots of people started to show up. And town has always had an identity, but it's an identity that's very hard to find, no? You really have to dig to really understand that identity. And with the amount of people and how fast things were changing, we had these conversations, and we thought that we needed to do something, as Sam said, take the opportunity to be part of the community and to set a standard or not a standard, like bring up that identity into the new developments that were happening in Todos Santos. So we decided that we were going to start, find a land that was a bigger land where we could have a bigger impact in the way we're working, the way we're designing homes and building them. And so that's when we found this property. This property had a lot of history. This property belonged to a dear friend of all of us, I think, Paula Necio. And it used to be where they grew up all their produce for the restaurant and so on. So what we thought...
They had Cafe Santa Fe, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And that was kind of a landmark, really, for this area.
I think it was the epicenter, no? Like for food in Todos Santos.
It set the tone for people coming. It put Todos Santos really on the map.
Yeah.
So this was, for Cafe Santa Fe, the place that gastronomically basically put Todos Santos on the map. This was this piece of property we're sitting on was actually the parcel that they owned where they were growing all the food for the cafe.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So with all that history and the thoughts we were having and seeing all the new development happening and Todos Santos kind of having a hard time keeping that identity, we thought we could achieve something with this bigger parcel and set a standard to future developments and show them that they can still do things right with the way that we see Todos Santos, with the love we have for Todos Santos. Big lots, low density, very, very connected to what we think is Todos Santos. And when we invited, in this project, we invited other 4 architects and myself. So that was the big conversation we had. How can we achieve these homes for Todos Santos. This is not homes that we want to be, you're going to be seeing all over. They're not going to be in Cabo. They're not going to be in La Paz. These homes are what together we thought was the contemporary Todos Santos home.
Yeah, and when you had the initial discussions with Ricardo, Sam, maybe you can kind of fill us in on how those discussions went and kind of what, obviously obviously Ricardo with his architectural background, he has the, he kind of had that vision, and I'm curious from the business side of things, like as you guys are having those discussions, kind of maybe tell us what that looks like.
Well, I think the difference between this project and I guess other ones that I've participated in is that this one started with a dream. Really started with a commitment to do something really special, or what we believed was really special. So from there we figured out the rest of it. So it wasn't like we specifically said, okay, let's do this and put it in these boxes and stuff like that. So this kind of started literally with a dream. I mean, it really started with us saying, wouldn't it be really cool to do something like this? I even remember when we started having this conversation. So the conversation, the business part, which is something that in some way has been a challenge. A lot of this project has been a challenge because it is different. It doesn't behave like another development that you have 10 houses are the same or have only a couple of characteristics that move them. These are 10 individual homes. So yeah, I think it really it started with a dream, with wanting to do something really cool, and then from there we've been able to figure out the structure that supports all of it. But really it was, I guess, two people that believed in it. I think that there's a lot of people that will say, why did you do this way or did it that way? Because we believed in it. I think that's started really with a dream, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also like to touch on the idea of like the projects or just residences that you guys did prior to this to lead up to this project, right? I look back on the houses that you've built in Todos Santos and houses that we've sold and that have recently actually resold, mm-hmm. right? We've just literally in the past 2 months resold 2 of your houses. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yep.
And there's another one that is pretty close as well. And so to come to this project, I kind of looked at it when the evolution of you guys in Casa Baja is kind of like, this is the idea of like a band playing music for the joy of like hearing the music themselves, and then other people recognizing that and enjoying it as well. Like your commitment to your guys' dream first is kind of that analogy. I looked at it like your guys' evolution has been exactly that. You started, if you look at the progression of houses and then this project, I think that, it's amazing to get to this level and say, we're going to do this our way. No one's going to kind of define this. We're going to define it. And people have been listening to your music for quite some time now.
Thank you. And I agree. I think we're trying to more than play our own music, play towards the values that we have, that we spoke those days in the mountain biking days, and the commitment we feel towards the community. We understand the responsibility of building homes, developing homes in the area, and taking bare land and putting something on it. So we really want to do something that we feel proud in the next 20, 30, 40 years, if we're still here.
I got to tell you that I knew Ezio and Paula, and Ezio's no longer with us, but I think that both of them are, Ezio would be really proud of, because I remember the pride he took in his restaurant and all of that. I think he would be like completely say, hey, great job, guys.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really great to kind of carry on the legacy of a property like this and do something that really, like, you feel like it's going to fit well within the community, and it's going to be something that the community can celebrate instead of maybe something that went the other direction, which I think is fantastic. As we kind of move forward, and dive more into this project specifically, I just want to get into a little bit of, your guys' vision for this project, and kind of maybe you can give us some information just kind of on the project, on maybe the architects that are involved, just, from a surface level. And then how do you feel like this project fits within the community? We've kind of touched on that a little bit, but maybe we could go into like the actual homes themselves and how they fit within the community and kind of the climate in this area of Todos Santos.
For sure. Well, the development consists of 10 individual homes, all of them completely different designs. All of them are individual homes in their whole structure. They do have a common line, in the program of the houses, and also in the concept of the development, right? Like the concept we spoke before, which is a house built for Todos Santos. We see that Todos Santos has a huge opportunity into maintaining itself as low density, big open spaces, and we see that happening commercially in the business side by going into a relaxed luxury market, no? So what we thought is that if we invited 4 other architects and myself, we could all design 2 different homes and just build a neighborhood pretty much focused in beauty and functionality. So we invited Héctor Barroso, we invited Luis Aldrete, we invited Ana and Saúl Figueroa, Sergio Ortiz and Diego Garcia, and myself. So that's the architects or the offices of architecture that are working in the project. And the houses consist of 4 houses, 4.5 bathrooms. They all have different focuses, but they all go towards how life is in Todos Santos, focused on the exterior spaces, focused on good weather, good winds, and that was the thought process behind, I think, the program of the houses.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, Ricardo, I believe we've had this conversation before, but 1 or maybe 2 of the architects, when you went to university and you were in school, they were maybe teachers or mentors of yours. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Luis Aldrete was my 10th semester of design teacher. Great teacher. He almost failed me, or I almost failed his class.
Is that true?
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
No, great teacher, very strict, very knowledgeable. Sergio Ortiz, he was part of the university, not giving me classes directly, but he has always been a big proponent of art and architecture in Guadalajara. He now has a partnership with Diego Garcia. But Sergio has always been a mentor for all younger generations towards the history of architecture and architecture itself and art itself.
Mm-hmm. Well, that must be so special to be, you as a student going to school, learning from these people that I'm sure you looked up to, they were well-known, renowned architects, and then, years later to be able to bring them on to a project that you're spearheading, that must be a special, experience.
It's been magical. It's been very challenging, but it's been great to share a more mature Ricardo with them, and also learn from their way of working and building their houses. I'm also learning a lot on space and how people see, or different architects see different things in buildings.
Yeah.
Is there a place that some of the people tuning in can go to see the history of the architects? Like, on Casa Baja website, is there anything about the bios of these architects, or is there a place that
not specifically? We do have mention of them. We do talk about them, but in reality, they have really good information about them. So everything will take you to whatever there's to.
Are we kind of saying which 2 houses each architect is responsible for?
Correct. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that you can find in the webpage.
Yeah, and that website is Huerta.com. Yeah. That's the website for this community specifically. That same question, I guess, to you, Sam, but more on a business side of things. Like maybe you can kind of just tell us a little bit. Ricardo kind of told us the architectural vision behind the project and what's here, but maybe you can expand on that from more from a business perspective.
Well, I guess maybe I have to expand more as a fan now instead of business. As a fan. Now, I mean, I've had the opportunity of not only working with Ricardo, but having the opportunity of seeing this project come together in regard to all the architecture and the design. And even though I do feel I participate in regards to some of the characteristics of the house and the functionality of it, and of course, I mean, we are running a business, but for me, it's been more really a spectator at seeing kind of the place come together, from use of materials to a lot of things that I don't know, but from the use of materials to the use of base, seeing the difference between each one of the architects, even though they all have the same, in some way, the same guardrails, each house is different, no? So for me, it's more of I'm answering more as a fan of being able to, and of being very grateful of being able to participate in this project and seeing all of this come alive, which I honestly didn't go to school and would have failed all of the classes, but yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, I'd love to hear the story in more detail at some point in the future. So I'm curious, when we talk about this project, we talk about La Huerta. I'm just curious, and maybe you can explain to our audience, just the things that people might not expect when they're coming down here. Let's say you're getting on a plane from San Diego, Los Angeles, Denver, Colorado. You're coming down here. You're touring La Huerta. What's something that people are going to notice that's done different, and maybe talk about kind of the reason why things are done that way, or why you deliberately did them differently than they would expect at maybe their home that they have in the U.S. or Canada? Well,
first of all, the uniqueness of the place, no? Talking even about Todos Santos, no? How unique the place is, how unique these homes are, how all 10 homes of significant architecture are going to be together in the same place, and just how these houses behave, right? These houses behave thinking about how life is in Todos Santos, how the weather is in Todos Santos. So they're specifically designed for this area, for not just Baja California Sur, just Todos Santos itself. So I think that's the main difference, like being able to be in the tropic where you can have your mango trees, and that's why La Huerta, you have your mango trees, your guava trees, but at the same time you have your cactus and all your desert plants that you don't see anywhere else in the world, I don't think. Even if you just drive to La Paz, you don't see it again, right? So the place is so unique, and these houses had to be so unique that it's hard to describe. I don't know if Sam has a different point of view.
I guess maybe I'll repeat what Ricardo said a bit, but the fact that one of the things that we decided were that we wanted to create a place that would enable people to enjoy Todos Santos and live the life that they wanted to. I think many times in real estate we talk about 4 bedrooms and a bathroom, and we're very specific about dimensions and sizes. No, are you selling a 3-bedroom? Are you selling a 4-bedroom? And that for us was not necessarily the vision. For us, it was more about how can we enable people to live the life that they want? How can they, in some way, be able to experience this area? Create memories. I mean, in some way, a home. I mean, yes, we build homes and we sell them, but we recognize that once we sell them, people live there, and live some of the greatest moments in their life. So, for us, I think it was really understanding kind of what Todos Santos meant, and how do we, using everything that Ricardo was talking about, considering weather, considering everything else, how do we create a home that you can actually live the lifestyle that you want to live here in Todos Santos?
That's great. That's great. And Richie, I'd be curious to hear too. You know, let's say someone comes into the office and they're speaking with you, and maybe they're just coming down to this area. They don't really know anything. Maybe they've probably visited Todos Santos before. They don't know anything about La Huerta. If you're kind of describing to them how this community or this project's different, like how would you explain it to someone that's coming from the U.S. or Canada or maybe a European visitor?
For me, I think like I've seen different projects and I've been down here long enough. The two things that come to mind for this particular, for La Huerta, is functioning aesthetic. Like you take these architectural designs that are from the minds of some great architects. So they're pieces of art that function, that perform.
Yeah.
That it's not just art for art, it's art with a purpose. And for me, like I'm not an artist. I'm more, my mind, thinks, I've got a linear mind that thinks business-wise, and for me, a house has to function,
right,
as well as look good. And this, to me, is not only, like, way beyond aesthetically pleasing, but it functions. And it functions, as Ricardo and Sam both said, it functions for a Todos Santos lifestyle.
Sorry, I don't know if you guys are getting attacked by the Bobos too, but I'm just been getting nailed. It seems like it's just all, I'm looking at you guys, I don't see anything. I don't see any around your face, but.
You could tell Tyson's the newbie of the group.
So, all of that, great. We're talking about, the homes, how they function, the area, all those wonderful things. But I'm just curious, a project of this scale has got to be challenging for you guys. So when you guys are, you're taking on a project like this head on, you guys obviously both have a full workload. What's kind of been the most challenging or the most gratifying part of a project like this?
Well, I think everything is a challenge always. Any project you do, anybody who's an entrepreneur, I think it's not so much about eliminating challenges, it's being able to manage them along the way. Yeah, I think a lot has to do with just doing a project like this for the first time, even though we have a lot of experience in construction. I think it's really just trying something different, having different partnerships, and Ricardo can talk more about this, but working with different architects. I think I think everything is a challenge, but I don't think there's any business that's not like that. But yeah, and gratifying is surpassing all of these challenges, and on the other side of these challenges, being able to create what you're looking for. I think that if we kind of go back and think about, okay, when we had this idea, are we building what in some way envisioned at that time? I think so. I think we are, and I think that's incredibly gratifying. All the challenges, and you get beat up along the way, but this is a reward. Being able to sit in this house and realize, we are being able to accomplish the goals that we initially set for ourselves.
Yeah, and I think that's been the biggest challenge, to be true to ourselves, true to the project we initially planned, and being able to materialize it, and also make it work as a business. I think there's lots of challenges, like Sam says, like from people showing up and community, and there's lots of challenges. Hurricane season and machinery and blah blah. But I think the biggest challenge is with ourselves, and being able to be true to what we believed of the project, and be able to materialize it.
Yeah.
And not get lost in the time.
Yeah, to take that artistic, architectural vision and actually turn it into a business and put it out there to someone and have people really want it and be able to enjoy it, I think that's a big challenge, and I think you guys are succeeding in doing that, which is fantastic, and I know it's been gratifying for both of you guys to be able to do something like that.
I feel I feel very proud of the project.
Yeah, and that brings us to, we're sitting in front of Casa Nube, but we've also got home number 2 that I believe was your home that you designed,
yes,
which is already sold, correct? Maybe you can kind of give us a little more information.
Yeah, the house was designed and laid out on the ground, and some previous clients who lived in a house that we built and designed as well. We're looking at the project, and they just like the house, like the layout, got interested, and yeah, that house is sold.
Yeah, that's great, and that says a lot, I think, for you guys, for the business. You have repeat clients that obviously liked what you do, the product you put out there, the quality, enough to want to purchase another one. I think that's a huge testimonial and a huge testament to kind of the work that you guys do and the business that you have. I mean, I think anyone would be extremely, proud to have.
Oh, we're extremely proud and extremely happy to have them as part of the project. They're great people, and we've enjoyed the road of doing business with them and having them as part of our projects, and it's going to be great to see them here.
Yeah.
And then going back to one of the things that we're very grateful about is also the fact that you were mentioning that our properties have a resale value. That means that we're very focused on project. We're very focused on quality. That is our biggest thing: quality, design, imagination. After that, the rest will fall into place. So the fact that we're still so. I mean, Ricardo was talking about it. No, we're so. I mean, we get into. Again, we have a lot of discussions, and we sometimes get pushed around in some way with what the expectations are around us. But we're still very, very consistent with that, and the fact that our houses resell is huge. I mean, it really is. It's something that happens without us having to go tell everybody, hey, we do a good job. That's something that somebody's telling us, and I think that's really. I mean, that's really, really worth it. I mean, it really is something.
It speaks volumes, Sam. It really does. And what I've seen, and it again, at the risk of repeating, the maturity that I've seen you guys, the growth that when you talk about, as from the business perspective of staying true to the finished product and the art, like when you're beginning in this, there's like are we over budget? Are we cutting? And staying true to that form, you guys have been very consistent of doing that over the years, but the maturity of this and the fact that these are higher end, a bigger project, and you've stayed true to yourselves, as you mentioned, that's growth and maturity and being responsible, and that will show in the investment opportunity in future, for resale value and all of that.
Yeah, and we spoke about obviously home number 2, being currently sold and off the market. So when we're looking at this, what do you see as like kind of who do you see living in these homes? Let's say let's go 5 years down the road when the community's built out and people are living in all these homes. Who do you see as your residents? If you were to kind of take like a pulled back perspective on your community, kind of what do you think about who's going to be living here? What's kind of their day-to-day going to be looking like, or maybe not their day-to-day, but how does the home kind of integrate in with their life here in Todos Santos?
Yeah, I mean, I think that for us, we really see mostly people that enjoy the Baja lifestyle, the Todos Santos lifestyle. If I could envision, the houses being filled, I have a sense of having a community of shared values, which I think are very similar to our values, and people that I think that end up coming here are very similar to what we're looking for. One of the things that's very characteristics of this community, and I think we all feel it, is that we move here, people are incredibly welcoming. I mean, they open their doors and like, what do you need? And I think that I find that same sort of like soul, that heart and soul here, an actual community of people that enjoy themselves, and most importantly, I feel that they enjoy life, enjoy the opportunities of life. So, I would love to see people truly enjoying everything that Todos Santos, all the area, everything the community has to offer.
And then, Ricardo, how do you see, like, just to maybe expand on what Sam said, when we talk about people living here and enjoying the community, how do you see the homes kind of fitting into that? How do you see La Huerta fitting into that in the future for residents of the community?
Well, first of all, since the beginning we said that Todos Santos has a very unique beauty, no? So the people who come and who will come and live in these houses are people who are going to enjoy beauty and themselves and want to be living around it. So I do think that what you see in life, what you wake up to, and how light comes into your bedroom and how it comes into your kitchen, that dictates a lot on how you feel,
right.
on your well-being. So I see the people who are going to be living here feeling very, very good with themselves, looking forward for the next day, looking forward to the next thing, next adventure. I think that's how I see people really enjoying themselves, people proud of the life they're living, people like yourselves, like ourselves, that we wake up and want to enjoy life. We want the sun to hit us, we want the wind to be in our face, and I think these houses allow that, and they were intentionally thought in that way, and that's how I would like to see people in the neighborhood. Yeah.
Well said, Ricardo. Honestly, the idea, like, Todos Santos started out as an artistic community, but the person that you just described doesn't need to be the artist, the writer. It could be the father, the mother, someone who's going to recognize that this is going to be generational, and this house experience will be part of that. I think that the creation of memories in places like this is what people are looking for.
So yeah, I think that's a really good transition and segue into our, we've talked about kind of the origin of the project, kind of the, building out this project, and then the afterwards, the future of this project, and how you see, residents enjoying it. But for you guys as developers, even though that can sometimes be a dirty word, what responsibility do you guys feel to uphold a project like this, or the legacy of a project like this? How do you feel it fits into kind of the character of the town, and what sort of long-term responsibilities do you have as developers when you're taking on a project like this, and you live here? It's not somewhere you're just coming to build something. You actually live here. You're a part of this community. You're neighbors of a lot of these people right here around us. So.
Well, I think I can speak for both of us that we feel complete responsibility on the project we're doing. It's a place that we love. It's a place that we came for the reason, not for business reason. Like, we came to live the place, to enjoy the place, to be part of the community. So we feel a huge responsibility. Especially with the word you use, the dirty word you use, being developers. We understand the weight of that position in a community, in a small community as Todos Santos is. So we really want to be very careful on how we do things. As Sam said before, we're very focused on quality. We want these homes to be very well made, to use local materials, to be as part of the environment as they can be, even though they're external blocks or whatever, cinder blocks, but we want them to feel part of the landscape. Mm-hmm. And so with the same thing, we want to bring in people that are going to enjoy Todos Santos by building these type of houses. So the responsibility goes really beyond just La Huerta San Sebastián. It's just being builders and being part of the community. My wife runs a school in town, so we have a huge responsibility of being able to give to the town. We could be mistaken in some days. Yes, of course we can, no? But our intention has always been to be proponent of preserving the identity and the magic that Todos Santos has offered us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can talk much more than what Ricardo already mentioned, but I do one thing, I guess this is more of a personal answer, but the responsibility, it's always something that we think about all the time. No, I mean, we're always, I guess, making the best decision we could at that time with the information we have. But I think Ricardo and I are always talking about the community and what it's doing and what's happening. No, how are we growing? How we're not growing? No, and so I think for us, it's almost it's a continuous commitment to be thinking. Okay, what is best? Is this the best? Did we do the right job? No, and it's tough. No, because I mean it's your. There's a lot of responsibility from all of us in the community of what we're creating here in Todos Santos, no? From the restaurants to us to different businesses, no? So, but yeah, I think our big thing is to continue to learn, to define for us what is that, no? Mm-hmm. What that looks like, I guess. No?
Yep.
I think it's a huge difference for me to see like what you guys do compared to other developments in the area, because it's not just taking. You're conscious of what you're doing and you're giving, right? Because you live in the community, it makes all the difference, right? Like, you know, Ricardo's wife Natalie runs a school. Like, you guys are involved in community development. It makes a huge difference in what is behind and what you've put into the structures and the land. And I think that sets you guys apart from other projects in the area. I really do.
Thank you.
And I've seen the proof of it, you know.
Thank you, Richie.
Yeah, no, it's really important. I mean, I think what we've all sort of done is you find where you want to be. You know, you find an area and a community that you think is going to fit the person that you are, and then you kind of work backwards from there, and you figure out a way to make it work. And if you really care about a place, you do it in the way that I think, you know, we've all tried to do it. Richie, Ricardo, Sam, you guys have all tried to do it in a responsible way, because you moved here for the community first. I think the other way of doing it is maybe someone who's developing goes to an area and just does a project there, and then they're kind of on to the next without real ties to the area. And I think that really is, like what Richie said, really stands out about a project like this. You can tell this is a project from people that live here, that love this area, that are doing this project from the heart.
Yep.
And I'm going to add a little bit to that. I think you will realize that a lot of these are shared values, even amongst, for example, I mean, us four, no? I mean, I think we all talk about these subjects, and I think we're all very focused on the same things and going back to the whole community. You know, it's really great to be in a community that we're all kind of have the same values and are focused on the same things. You know, I mean, I really like that about this community for sure.
Yeah. No, and I think, you know, you could probably walk down the road right here on your way to the beach and tap any person on the shoulder and ask them the same question. They probably have a similar answer,
sure.
You know, which is great. I think that tells you you're in the right spot. So we're going to kind of, you know, wrap it up here as we're closing down, but I do have a couple more questions for you guys. And it's just, you know, I guess like on a human level, down to the basics, doing a project like this, you know, we kind of talked about it's the challenges of it, but what's been something that for you guys, like maybe give us a specific, like what's something that's really kept you up at night, you know, with this project?
What has kept me up at night personally is being able to share this feeling of responsibility to the community with the community around us, neighbors, other developers, and without being able to prove what with the development done, right? Like if you show something that's done, if you show something that's materialized, there it is, right? Like I can prove you, but it's been challenging to navigate the sharing and giving information and how we present the project to you guys, to how we share this project, how we share this dream with others. For me personally, it's been challenging. I think we've done a good job with it. Like I feel very comfortable, and I think that the neighborhood feels comfortable with our project, and they see a little bit more and advancing. But at the beginning of the project, it was very challenging.
Yeah, and I can imagine, from a neighbor's perspective, when they don't know, they may not know what's going on here, and they just see maybe equipment and blocks, and you have a big open area. They'd be kind of worried about what sort of project. I mean, is this going to be condos? What sort of things going in next?
Build the next Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah. So all that stuff, I'd imagine, that's the big one. And then once people are able to see, but before you have the proof that people can see to be able to kind of explain that to people, I'd imagine that's something that can be really be worrisome. Like, I just don't want people to be maybe apprehensive about the project before we even get started. I want them to be able to, it'd be nice to be able to have them see, but now here we are and they can see, what's happening, which is fantastic.
So I don't think, not so much now, but at the beginning when we had this piece of land and we had to make sure that we got through all of the hoops and hurdles of getting the right paperwork, of working within the PDU. I think that, I don't know, at least for me, was a little bit nerve-wracking at the beginning, but the fact that
it's a long time now.
They were, the fact that we're in line and in order. I mean, really, there's nothing stopping us right now from continue. So there's a few times there. Yeah, I don't know if there's. I mean, besides the regular stress of things, I don't think that. I mean, I think we really believe in this project, and I don't. Yeah, I just feel that it's taking its course. I mean, I think that before everything materialized, it was, you're thinking about all of these environments. Oh, well, this happens, no. But now that we're at a phase that we're materialized, and as Ricardo says, we've been able to accomplish. We actually can see it happening. No, that at least for me has been much better. But yeah, at the beginning for sure. Yeah, we didn't. I think we lost a lot of sleep because there were so many, I think, unknowns at the beginning. But now I think I'll find something else to not let me sleep pretty soon, I'm sure. But as of now, I'm doing pretty well. So yeah.
Great. So as we wrap it up here, there's one more thing, one more question I wanted to ask you guys that I'm curious about, because I really feel like you guys think outside the box. And I think when people think about most developers, it's a developer coming into an area trying to maximize their density, maximize their dollar. How much can they squeeze out of every square meter of the property? Where I think that's where you guys might differ. So maybe tell me a little bit about kind of your philosophy when it comes to a project like this that might be different from the way other developers might do it.
Well, the way we spoke about it, and then we had this conversation, is that we wanted to do something that we would feel proud of, that we would enjoy ourselves, that our children could be proud of, and grandchildren could be proud of. So of course we gotta make it work as a business, but I think we have it's the goal at the end, but it's not all of it, right? Like I think that's the biggest differentiation, I would think, Sam, no? That we really, or at least I really want to come back here in 20 years and say, oh, I was a part of this, no? Like my hands were a part of this, Sam's hands were part of this, and all the people, all our team that's involved, to feel that same way, no? Like to come and I think that's a big difference, because sometimes or most of the time, and that's why developers have this really bad name, is they just finish and then look the other way and go for the next phase and phase 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
And I think that's the one thing we're doing differently.
And Sam, maybe you can expand a little bit on that, and maybe talk about the, we have a PDU in place, an urban development plan that kind of outlines like minimum lot sizes and all that, and maybe other developers might have chose to come in and maybe, do something a little different, try to maximize density. But tell me a little bit about what you guys chose to do and how it kind of conforms to our urban development plan.
So we decided to work within the PDU. I think that in some way what a PDU is standardized, no? It's standardizing all for us to in some way, creating a standard that's adapted for the area in such a way that growth, development, is done in a responsible way. I feel that if we all participated in the PDU, we would in some way find a better standard. We do find a lot of people that want to push those boundaries. And I think maybe going back to the, kind of the original part, I think that our big thing is about adding value, not so much about cutting costs. For us, it's not about, okay, the pool has to be specifically this size because this is how much money we have and this is the budget. No, it's more about what pool should be there. No, and I think that's the biggest, I guess, differentiation that we see in some way, because it also has to do with our business plan. I mean, that's how we're putting it together. But for us, it's more about, our product is more about adding value than it is about cutting costs. And I think that just that philosophy in itself creates a completely different developer. Again, as Ricardo said, it is a business now, and ultimately at the end of the day, I mean, we're all in business now, we all have a job to do, but that in itself, I think, is a huge philosophical difference that not every developer has.
I think, I don't, Tyson, were there any other questions?
No, I think that, yeah.
I'd like to thank Ricardo.
Thank you, Richie.
Sam, for joining us again on Rare Conversations. Tyson, thank you for conducting such a great podcast. And I would say that just over the years and what I've seen in town, I think, you had mentioned what you'd like to come back in 20 years and look back on this and say, you were a part of this. Sam was a part of this. The people that built this, the architects were a part of this. And I would even go a step further. I think, this is going to be looked upon, not that you've got plenty of things in the future to do. The vision is there. You guys see it. And I look forward with working with you in all future projects. I think in 20 years, when you look back on this is going to be the opus of this point for you guys, and say this is like, it's really that level, right? That you're going to look, people are going to look back on this and say this will be the what people strive for. This will be what people try to achieve, and I'll go out on the limb and say that's what this is going to achieve years from now. People seeing this and saying this is the standard for what we want in Todos Santos. So again, thank you. I think it was really interesting to listen, and the perspective of what you guys have given. Again, thanks for coming on a second time. Again, thank you guys for tuning in and watching this, and I hope you got as much out of it as I did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.